Started today like I have almost every other day with a meeting at 7 o'clock or a breakfast at 7 o'clock to kind of get ready for the day. My business and labor didn't start until 9, and I was happy to have 2 hours to get ready for a speech that I gave at a Montana Women Vote rally. And still keeping up with emails. I think I probably responded to 50 and have 50 more to respond to. In business and labor, we heard Senate Bill 30, which is supported by the Butte Local Development and adjusts the wage rates that are required when employees do workforce training. And we also heard Senate Bill 121, which is kind of a weird bill. No opponents, no proponents, no informational witnesses. The hearing took about 5 minutes, and it removes one line of the law that says that when in a contract between a private party and the government, if there's something wrong with the contract, the private party is always held liable, and it just strikes that. Everyone, I think, was a little bit worried about it because it seemed too simple. We brought back the Outfitters bill. We didn't. The bill sponsor did. I had voted against House Bill 187 because the sportsman in Butte did not like it, and it was not amended in the way that the bill sponsor said it was going to be. The bill sponsor came to me and said, my colleagues did not bring the amendments that I asked them to. They sent it right to the House floor because they knew they had the votes for it, and I told you guys I would amend it. So he took it off of the second reading. He referred it back to committee. He insisted that his colleagues bring the amendments that he had promised, and it passed out of our committee today with a unanimous vote. I was able to vote for it based on those amendments, and I thought that was a really honorable thing for him to do, and I respect him a lot for that. We also took executive action on House Bill 284, the Liquor Agency Commission law or bill. Well, we were going to take executive action on it. It would have cost $18 million every year for the state, out of the state of Montana, and the same people who voted not to feed hungry kids were going to vote for this bill to give money to businesses, and I wanted it. I think that's kind of a lot of money, but I did want to help out the businesses that we have in Butte. And so I was kind of inclined towards voting for it. And Representative Hunter, who's our minority leader, took the microphone and said, I think, when other committees are failing bills with a $20,000 fiscal note and voting not to feed hungry kids, then I think it would be pretty hypocritical for us to vote on this bill that has $18 million fiscal note. And you could see everyone in the room like looking around. And so the committee voted to table that bill for a little bit to talk about maybe amending it to a smaller number and bring it back at a later date. That was a really fun and interesting committee to be in today. We reopened that bill that had to do with the licensing boards on every licensing board, from chiropractors to podiatrists to hearing aid dispensers. I talked about it before. There were 4 or 5 opponents who did not like being included in that bill, and so today we took it off of the table, you have to vote to take it off of the table so that you can hear it again. They brought an amendment that struck all of the language in the bill that pertained to anyone who opposed it, and then we unanimously pass it. So see, there's plenty of agreement in Helena. The Montana Women Vote rally was wonderful. I got to tell a group of women that the people in the Capitol work for you, and they're making decisions every single day that affect you, and they're doing it without any of your input. So perhaps you'd best speak up about it. And it was really fun to get to say that. A lot of those women had driven more than 3 hours to be there. A lot of them had never been in the Capitol before, and almost all of them had never spoken with a real live representative. And it was my extreme honor to get to deliver that message to them, and I hope that they really take it to heart. On the House floor today, I took another stab at speaking again against a bill that was in my own committee. And this time I tried to do it with a little more grace. And I even said that and got a little chuckle out of them. So I feel better about that. The chair of the day was Tom Jacobson, and it was his birthday. And so they passed a note around, and we all pressed our speak to the bill button at the same time. And the look on his face was like, what's going on? And then I think he realized we were playing a prank on him. So that kind of kept it light. In Human Services, we heard House Bill 263, which changes the way that the veterans' homes are funded, and in my opinion, would seriously harm the level of service that is given at the state-owned veterans' home in Columbia Falls. Could be wrong about that. You might want to check into it and start talking about it, because we're going to be taking executive action on that early next week. And if you know or have ever known a veteran, that is probably something that's going to be important to you and you should be paying attention to. We also heard probably the most innocuous bill we've heard so far in Human Services. The Board of Nursing would like to gather some data via the internet. So every nurse, every 2 years, has to do an online license renewal, and a lot of other places in the country, they ask a few questions like, what type of a facility do you work in? Are you working? How much are you working full-time, half-time? Just so that they have statistics on, out of all of their 20,000 licensees, how many are actually working and in what kind of work they're doing. And the Board of Nursing just didn't feel like they were statutorily allowed to collect that data. So they were asking our permission to put like 2 or 3 words in the law that specifically give them permission to collect that data. And there were people on the committee who were like looking up in the air for black helicopters because they were so worried about what was hidden about Big Brother gathering this data. And they asked the nurses, why? Why do you need this data? Why do you need to know this about people? And I really felt like the nurses should have said, listen, we're your nurses. We take care of you and your entire family, and we want this. Just give it to us. But they did their best to answer the questions, and the bill's going to die the horrible death that every bill does in the killing fields that is the Human Services Committee. That was the day. I spent a half an hour or so with a lot of other Democrats in the Democrat Party owned building that's not too many blocks from here, and it was nice to be around them. I said goodbye to the Paige from Butte High, Jordan, this week. She lived with me, and I'm not sure I could have made it through this week without her. I think we'll be friends for the rest of our lives, and I really grew to love her a lot. And then I went to the Montana Women Vote reception and heard Denise Juneau speak, and you'll see a picture of that at the end as well. Thanks for listening. I think you can tell that I'm feeling better. Tomorrow's Saturday, and I get to go home, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you guys are paying attention, because there's a lot of going on around here, and you should be contacting your legislator and telling them exactly what you think about it. They work for you.